Hello everyone. Today I want to show you a study planner I built with n8n. The idea is very simple. Instead of manually creating a study schedule for an exam, the student just send one message in a Telegram bot. For example, this message, the workflow check that message, understand the exam detail, calculate how much time is left, create a realistic study plan, save it to Google Sheets, and send today's study task back to Telegram. Here is the full message. Let's see how it works. This is the complete workflow. It starts with Telegram. It's the trigger. Every time the student sends a message, they start the workflow. The second node extracts the Telegram chat ID and the student message. So now n8n has two important pieces of information. The message itself and the chat where the final response needs to be sent. The student doesn't need to follow a complicated form. They can just write naturally. Now the full Gemini's step. Take the student message and extract four things: the subject, the exam date, the chapters, and the number of hours available per day. I also give the AI today's date so it can correctly understand the relative dates like next Friday or in 2 weeks. The workflow is also structured. It should not invent missing information. For example, if the student forgets the exam date, that field is marked as missing instead of guessing. Then, the structured output parser for the AI response into a predictable format. Next, the workflow calculates how many days are left into the exam. It also limits the daily study time to a reasonable range. Then, this EF node check two things. First, is someone required information missing? And second, is the exam date already today or in the past? If something is wrong, the workflow doesn't continue generating a fake plan. Instead, Telegram asks the student to provide the missing information or enter a future exam date. This makes the workflow much more reliable. Now we move to Google Sheets. The workflow reads previous study plan from the study plan labs, but there is an important detail here. I added an aggregate node after the Google Sheet node. Why? Because Google Sheet can return multiple rows. Without aggregation, the planning AI could run once for each row. That could create duplicate plans and duplicate Telegram messages. So I combine all the previous rows into one item before sending the information to Gemini. This was specifically designed to avoid the duplicate plan problem. Next node is the main AI part of the workflow. Gemini receives the subject, exam date, today's date, days remaining, available study time, chapters, and previous plans. But the important part is the instruction. I'm not just asking create a study plan, I'm giving the model rules. For example, the daily study time cannot exceed the student available time. Each study day is divided into 2 to 4 concert blocks. It also uses active recall, practice problem, explanation, timed past paper, flashcard, and error logs review. And the final days before the exam focus on revision and practice instead of introducing a lot of new material. The workflow generates the tight plan for the first 7 days and a roadmap for the remaining period. Once Gemini finishes the plan, the workflow prepares a row for Google Sheets. It stores the timestamp, chat ID, subject, exam date, chapters, hours per day, days remaining, priority, the tight plan day, the roadmap, and the status. Then the Google Sheet node save everything in study plans lab. so the study plan is not lost after the Telegram message. Now comes one of the most important parts. I don't want to send the entire multi-day plan to Telegram every time. The workflow looks at today's actual date and finds the matching day inside the generated plan. So if today is August 16, it looks for 2026 age 16. Instead of blindly checking the first item in the array, then it formats only today's study blocks. For each block, the student gets the block number, the topic, the duration, the exact task, and the study method. The message is also limited, so it within Telegram message size limit. And then send the message into Telegram and save everything in Google Sheet. Now let's test it live. I'm going to send this message to Telegram to files and the workflow start work. And here is today's actual study plan. Instead of just saying study algebra, I get a real structure. For example, block 1, algebra, time, 50 minutes, task, and method. Then other block for the next topic. And the workflow also gives me the total study time and checklist. So the student know exactly what to do instead of wasting time deciding what to study. Finally, the workflow logs the activity in a separate activity log lab, so I can keep track of when the plan was created and what would happen during the execution. So that was the full workflow. The important part is the AI isn't just generating text. It's being used inside an actual workflow to turn a student exam information into an actionable study system. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.